From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. It's great to be with all of y'all this morning. I'm kind of back in the studio. It's not fully done yet, so we can't give you the full tour of it, but at least I'm back in my safe spot, as I like to say. Good morning. Happy Monday. Thank you all for logging in and joining us this morning, May 20th, 2024. I hope everyone had a good and enjoyable weekend. I know I did. Great news out of Iran yesterday. The President Raisi and Foreign Minister both found their death in a helicopter crash. The world is a little bit better this morning because those two guys are taking off the battlefield. So with that being said, we've got a lot to cover on the cybersecurity notes. So let's go ahead and get that going. Join me for a coffee cup cheers. New custom-made mug. Unbelievable. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. Love these kinds of mugs. Love custom stuff. It's great. All right, let's go ahead and get the show going. If you have not subscribed to our Substack, please make sure to do so right now. jamesazar.substack.com. You can also check out our website, cyberhubpodcast.com, and make sure you're following us on your favorite social media platforms. Slack has raised the ire of many in privacy and cybersecurity over their essentially kind of hidden way to train their AI model in Slack by essentially opting everyone in by default and not giving anyone the opportunity to even opt out for that. The company insists it has technical controls in place to block Slack from accessing underlying content and promised that the data would not lead across workspaces. But despite those assurances, corporate Slack admins are scrambling to opt out of data scraping. This line in Slack's communication sparked a social media controversy, something that I saw on many of the Slack channels I'm on, ironically or not, as well as others, essentially saying Slack was training its AI and ML models based on conversations without really getting people to opt in. You had to go through a process to opt out of it as well, meaning they didn't make it a simple setting in your admin. You had to do that, kind of manually. So now they've decided to scrap that and get people to opt in. Good move by Slack, but just in general, you want to get user opt-in for that kind of stuff. The SEC has adopted amendments to Regulation SP that requires certain financial institutions to disclose data breach incidents to impacted individuals within 30 days of discovery. Regulation SP was introduced in 2000 and controls how some financial entities must treat non-public personal information belonging to consumers. These rules include developing and implementing data protection policies, confidentiality and security assurances, and protecting against anticipated threats. The new amendment adopted last week impacts financial firms like broker-dealers, investment firms, registered investment advisors, and transfer agents. The modifications were initially proposed in March of last year to modernize and improve the protection of individual financial information from data breaches and exposure to non-affiliated parties. So the changes is notifying impacted individuals within 30 days if their sensitive information is or is likely to be, underline, is likely to be accessed or used without authorization, meaning even if you're not sure, if you think it might be, you have to do it. You've got to develop, implement, and maintain written policies and procedures for IR to detect, respond, and recover from unauthorized access, expand safeguards and disposable rules to cover all non-public personal information, including that received from other financial institutions, require documentation of compliance with safeguards and disposal rules, excluding funding portals, align annual privacy notice delivery with the FAST Act, and extend safeguards and disposable rules to transfer agents registered with the SEC or other regulatory agencies. So all in all, more regulatory there, no standards established. TPA employer services are disclosing a data breach impacting the PII of more than 2.4 million individuals based out of Irving, Texas, the subsidiary of Guidewell Mutual Holdings Corporation. WebTPA is a third-party administrator specializing in health insurance and benefit plans. The cyber incident says the cyber incident, according to WebTPA, was discovered on December 28th of last year after detecting evidence of suspicious activity on the network. The investigation into the matter revealed the threat actor stole PII from its system between April 18th and April 23rd, and they detected the activity in December, including names, contact info, date of birth, dates of death, insurance information, and social security numbers. According to TPA, the exposed data differs by individual. Some have financial information, credit card numbers, and health and medical information was not affected by the incidents. Some did, and you'll know that in your disclosure statement that you get. Banking Trojan Grandiorio is spreading a large-scale phishing campaign in over 60 countries, targeting customer accounts of roughly 1,500 banks. In January, Interpol, in an international operation involving Brazil, Spain, ESET, and Saxia Bank, announced the disruption of the malware operation, which had been targeting Spanish-speaking countries since at least 2017 and caused around $120 million in losses. At the same time, they also arrested 5 individuals and did 13 search and seizure actions that occurred across Brazil. However, no information was provided on the arrested individuals. IBM X-Force reported that Grandiorio appears to have returned to large-scale operations since March of last year, likely rented to cybercriminals through malware as a service, and is now targeting English-speaking countries as well. The new phishing campaigns rent the malware. The phishing lures are diverse, crafted specially for organizations a particular cyber criminal is targeting. Some of these phishing emails seen impersonate government entities in Mexico, Argentina, and South Africa, mainly tax admin organizations, revenue services, and Federal Electricity Commission. They're written in native English. There's also several additional features like they've reworked and improved the string encryption algorithm using a combination of AES and CBC and custom decoder. They've updates on the domain generation algorithm, which now includes multiple seats to separate the command and control communication with operator tasks. A new mechanism that targets Microsoft Outlook clients, disabling security alerts, using them to send phishing to new targets, new persistent mechanisms, expansion of targeting bank application, and inclusion of crypto, and expansion of the command jet, now including remote control, file upload, download, key logging, and a whole lot more. So it's come back new, improved, and going right at it. And it kind of shows you that no matter what you disrupt, these guys find a way back. They always do. GitHub continues to be a number one target for software supply chain attacks. This new campaign, monikered Get Caught, says the campaign not only highlights the misuse of authentic internet services to orchestrate cyber attacks, but also the reliance on multiple malware variants and targeting Android, Mac OS, and Windows to increase the success rate. This is coming from Recorded Future. We talked briefly about this last week. There's now a little bit more details with these threat actors, all coming from CIS countries, former Soviet countries, doing these types of attacks. So you want to make sure you get your GitHub addressed. Congressional leaders concerned by NYPD's use of Chinese-made drones are asking the NYPD to find out more information about how are they keeping that data secure. The program, which is currently being tested, will pair drones with Shoot Spotter technology. Kaz Daughtry, the NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Operations, told the House Homeland Security Committee at a hearing focused on the use of drones. He said the department is trying to phase out the Chinese-made drones, but also defended their use, saying they're far more effective and affordable than those than any produced by American manufacturers. Several congressmen questioned the department's use of devices manufactured by primarily Chinese drone suppliers like Shenzhen's DJI. The FBI and CISO warned in January that Chinese-made drone pose a significant risk to critical infrastructure. Currently, they account for the majority of the U.S. market. When I was in New York last week, there was a DJI store on Fifth Avenue. So there's that. The extensive deployment of Chinese-manufactured drones in U.S. critical sectors is a national security concern by several individuals here. And the reason for it is this is twofold, right? The one is the fact that they have access to this type of data. Concerning. Number two, they could have backdoors where they're leaking that data and then using it on their own. And essentially that could be a national security threat, as well as getting a layout of security operations, meaning if and having that data doesn't mean China could use it, but they could sell it, they could share it with different threat actors. We know China is backing Iran. We know they're backing Hamas. We know they back a lot of terror organizations, including the Taliban in Afghanistan. With our withdrawal from Afghanistan, China stepped right in and become a power broker in Afghanistan and is currently negotiating and playing a central role in the Afghanistan-Pakistan conflict going between the two nations, as both countries see China as an adversary there. So if you think of that data being with the Chinese being concerning, it should be, and it is. There's absolutely a concern to be had there, and the NYPD should know better. Unfortunately, that's not the case here. The Nigerian government halted its effort to fund a national cybersecurity improvement program through a 0.5% levy on domestic electronic transactions after the current administration faced widespread public criticism for increasing taxes during inflation and economic crisis. As recently as May 6th, the Central Bank of Nigeria directed financial institutions to begin collecting the levy within 2 weeks, but following public outcry, President Bola Tinubu pledged to block the tax over the weekend, and on May 14th, have officially suspended the tax itself. Nigeria was looking as a way to help raise that tax in order to improve its cybersecurity posture. There's that. And in big cybersecurity industry news, Palo Alto and IBM on Wednesday last week announced a significant partnership in which the two companies will jointly provide cybersecurity solutions, and IBM will deliver consulting services across Palo Alto's platform. The new partnership has several noteworthy aspects. IBM said it will expand the deployment of Palo Alto security platforms internally, and the cybersecurity vendor will be its preferred partner for network, cloud, and SOC offerings. IBM also said it will work with Palo Alto on security operation, DevSecOps, and threat management. In addition, the tech giant will train over 1,000 security consultants on the migration, deployment, and adoption of Palo Alto products. The companies announced that IBM Consulting will be the preferred MSSP for Palo Alto customers, and they will set up a joint SOC and cyber range. Palo Alto has also agreed to acquire IBM's QRadar SaaS assets, technology that IBM acquired back in 2011 when it acquired Q1 Labs. Once the acquisition of QRadar assets have been completed, the companies will facilitate the migration of QRadar customers to Palo Alto's recently unveiled Cortex XSIM SOC platform. The financials of this were not disclosed, but it's definitely disruption for the marketplace. That's it for our show this morning. We'll be back again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, live right here. Please make sure to tune in. Go check out the episode Friday Chris Float and I did. If you missed it, we were talking frameworks, CIS versus NIST CSF. Some great conversation. 30 minutes of your time, but really well worth it. Go check that out. Make sure to subscribe, follow us, and if you've got any stories, please let us know by going to our website, cyberhubpodcast.com, or reaching out to me on any one of the channels that are in the show notes. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Have a great week, and most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.